We don't usually think about what do you mean a high turnover? But the reality is there is a high turnover of veterans. And the University of Syracuse did a study several years ago and found that no matter what the rank of the person, that whether it was an E4 or an O3 or a retiree, enlisted or officer, turns out that 80% of all veterans leave their first job after the military within 2 years. I'll say that again. 80% leave their first job within 2 years. If you were to go to a company and say, hey, we'd like you to hire veterans. Oh, but by the way, there's an 80% turnover within 2 years. That's like, what's going on with that? What is going on? So I'm telling you this statistic not to depress you, okay, but to tell you that there is a reason why there is such a high turnover. Because a lot of veterans just go get a job, and they're working for whatever reason. And guess what? That's fine. It turns out that the number one reason why there's such a high turnover is that veterans don't have that sense of purpose. When they join an organization, that sense of purpose just frustrates them, or they don't know how to deal with it. And they're like, wait a minute, there's so much more that I had when I was in the military, but just working this hourly wage or working this salary to add a few cents to the bottom dollar, in the bottom of the account balance sheet for this company, that's not a higher calling. So it's important that every veteran that is getting out, or if you're looking for a new opportunity, to realize, number one, there is going to be this challenge about this loss of sense of purpose, so like I mentioned in the last session. It's okay, because if you go in with your eyes open, you're more likely to be more successful. Okay, that's important why I'm telling you this. The second part is 80% leave within 2 years. Well, we don't want you to be one of those 80%. And in fact, we find that whenever people go through the TAP program and they participate with other agencies to help them to find the right job, that the retention rate is much, much higher. So that's important for me to make sure to tell you. And that's why you're going through all of these sessions with me, so that you can learn some of these techniques and takeaways to help you to land the right job for you. Now, don't get me wrong. If you've got to have a job right now to pay the bills, well, go for it. I mean, get that job to pay the bills, while you're also looking for that longer-term career opportunity as well. So don't get me wrong. Not trying to say that you can't have a temporary job that's for the next 6 months to a year. I'm trying to find you the next phase of your life, whether you're 25, 35, 45, or even 55 for that matter. The number one challenge that dealing with employers and with coworkers is language. Number one, language. You go, wait, what language? What? It's amazing. If you think back when you first came into the military, let alone going to EOD school, you're going, wait a second, what are all these acronyms? What are all these? I can't even figure out. I have no idea what anybody's talking about. This is all Greek to me. But then guess what? Now that you're getting out, that's SOP, standard operating procedure, meaning it's routine. You get it. You understand all of these ideas. We talk about, instead of going somewhere for business travel, we say we're going TDY, temporary duty. Well, wait a second. The concept of TDY, that's not something you're going to use in the outside world. So simple words that we use in the military that were foreign to us when we joined now are commonplace for us. Language is the number one challenge. Let me give you an example. So let's say that we've got a squad leader, an infantry. Now, I know that's appealing mostly to the soldiers and the Marines that are in this group, but for all of you airmen and sailors as well, please come along with me here and your coasties. So if you're a squad leader, infantry squad leader, and you're in a job interview, and the person says, so tell me a little bit about yourself, like, what do you do? Well, I was a squad leader, and I was in Iraq, and I was in Afghanistan, and I know how to do fire maneuver, call for fires, medevac, signal deconfliction. And at this point, the interviewer is looking at you and going, like, okay, thinking out loud, well, we don't do any of those things. Thank you so much for your service. I really appreciate what you've done for our country. Thank you. And then you don't get hired, right? But guess what? If the same squad leader came in and the interviewer said, so tell me about yourself. What did you do? And you say something like this. Well, I was a squad leader. What that meant is I was responsible for 10 people, for their mission, for the work that they did, for making sure that they were trained and ready for all the things we had to do. So I was responsible as their leader for those 10 people. And during the conduct of an average day, I had to do planning, I had to do project execution, I had to do collaboration and coordination with people inside and outside of my organization. I had to ensure that we had communication and everyone was all on the same sheet of music about what we were doing. I had to make sure to check and recheck and have attention to detail on all of the different activities that we were involved with. I was involved in coordinating logistics to ensure we had the equipment and the things we needed to do our job. No, wait a minute. So now I had to deal with ambiguity. We didn't know always what we were going to be dealing with, so I had to be able to react in the moment. Well, guess what? That's a whole different story. And then the interviewer is going to go, wow, you dealt with logistics, you did with coordination, you did with collaboration and with communication and with leadership. Tell me more. That's a whole different story and interface you're going to have with the interviewer. So you have to translate what you've done into terms or competencies that someone in the commercial or civilian market will understand. Remember that military bring attention to detail. We bring standards. We bring high ethics. We bring the idea that we will get the job done. The idea that we take care of other people. We're organized. We're structured. These are things that are very, very important out there in the market. Doesn't matter, enlisted, officer, it doesn't matter what your background was. We all bring these things to the table. So if you're going to continue in the EOD community and you're going to work for a government agency, a police force, well, then you're going to be pretty much good to go. Because what you did in the military, I mean, granted, all of the procedures and the processes, you'll have to learn new ones. But the reality is it's a similar kind of work. And you're going to understand it, and the people that you work with are going to understand you. However, for everyone else, this is an opportunity, and by the way, even if you're not quite sure what you want to do, it's an opportunity to step back and say, what do I want to do? Because some people are going to be, I'm an EOD tech, I want to stay in EOD tech. Great, that's awesome. There are very nice ways to connect with police departments and with federal, state, and local agencies to explore that opportunity. For everyone else, though, you got to kind of talk to other people. Read books, brainstorm, watch YouTube videos. What would you like to do? What gives you satisfaction? Now, you might think out loud, well, that's great, Randy, but I got to have a job. I got to pay some bills. Remember, there's no problem at all about you getting a short-term opportunity working somewhere, whether it's fast food or working in a garage or working in a store or retail or whatever, or a warehouse. No problem with that while you figure out what you want to do. So notice what I'm doing here. I'm challenging you that the military is no longer telling you what you want to do or what you have to do. Like, you're going to be an EOD tech. That's what you're going to be. Now you have, oh my goodness, I have the freedom to figure out what I like to do. I like working with kids. I like working with people. I don't like working with kids. I don't like working with people. I want to be just doing analysis. I want to do writing. I want to work with my hands. I want to be a mechanic. I want to be in sales. I don't know what you want to do, but here's the point. Now is the opportunity to figure this out. Many of us, when we joined the military the first time, we were doing it because I'm not quite sure what I want to do in the world. I graduated from high school or I graduated from college. I'm not quite sure what I want to do. So, you know what? I'm going to see the world, or I have that feeling of patriotism, or you know what? I want to join so I can get money to go to school. So guess what? All good. But you joined the military to better yourself. Not quite sure what you wanted to do, but you joined it to broaden your horizon, get some money a little bit, belong to an organization, do something that was good. Now you have the opportunity to say, darn it, what exactly do I want to do? So I'm challenging you to think it through. And how do you do this? I already mentioned, read, watch YouTube videos about different kinds of jobs, do Google searches, go to job fairs, just talk to people. Talk to again, remember I mentioned in a previous episode, I talked about perhaps your buddies that you actually are transitioning with, or mentors. Just kind of looking at what do you enjoy doing. Reflect a little bit, write things down in a journal. I like working with people. I don't like working with people. I like working with my hands. I like working outside. I like working with the land. I like working with things. What is it? I like to teach. I like to go to teach in high school or whatever. This is your opportunity, whether you are 25 or 55, to rethink the rest of your life. Remember, we only get one life on this planet, just one life. So why not make it the best for you, starting with you and your spouse and your children? There's that story that says that if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. Follow that dream. So please understand that while, I'm helping you to find a job to pay the bills, I'm also trying to help you to think bigger, to say, what do I want to do to make myself happier and more successful in life? So that's the challenge that I leave you as we continue into the rest of the episodes, to figure out how to help you get there.